Sampling design is the integral part of research design. Sampling design is basically going to select the required sample from the population. So the sample, you are already aware of that, is a representation of the population. Sampling design is a part of research design. Steps involved in sampling design. First, we are going to find out the universe, whether we are going to approaching or accessing the population is a countable or uncountable. A known population or unknown population, we need to find it out in the first stage. Second one, we need to find it out the sampling unit. What are the major constructive parameters in terms of geographical units or like social units or different individual classes based on the various parameter or demographic variance. And we need to find it out the source list, the sampling frame. For example, if we are going and collecting the information about the internet service provider or mobile network operator, a telephone directory itself is a source of reference or sampling frame. Size of sample is to be defined through various sources. Through the pilot study, we are going to find it out the sample size required for the study. And sampling procedure, the selection of sample. What manner? Broadly divided into probability and non-probability sample. We are going to select the appropriate sampling technique to select the appropriate sample required for the study. This is for example of the known population and unknown population. The first video which is the pure example for the unknown population. We were not able to count how many cars are crossing in this particular area. The second one is the very limited cars are crossing in the particular location. We would be able to easy to find it out or count the things. So why I'm saying that if we are saying the number of customers in the particular bank, we would not able to say that is a known population. Why? Because if the banker refused to give the information about the particular number of customers in the particular bank or particular account holders, we would not able to say it as known population. Still it is unknown population. It means the researcher would not able to estimate the population parameter. So these other things are important. And next aspect is the sample size determination. The sample size determination is estimating the population size, required population size or required sample size for the study. It could be estimated through two different methods using mean and percentage or proportion. It is applicable for the infinite population. Here n is required sample size for the study, that is a confidence level. Normally we have 95% of confidence level. We might say 1.54 is 1.96 is we consider as the Z value, and standard deviation score or variance score we might extract from the pilot study. What is the standard deviation of the population? We might take 30 sample or 50 sample through which we calculate the sample standard deviation. E squared is error term. We are going to find it out. It is applicable capital N. It is represented for the known population. For the proportion, we might use P and Q. P is the proportion probability of success and probability of failure, probability of sample taken, probability of sample left over. So based on this calculation, we might arrive the sample size. Here also the capital N represents the population. These are the different confidence interval to be taken by the researcher. The normality also divided into the univariate normality, bivariate and multivariate normality based on the statistical terms that we are using, like mode we might use for the univariate normality. Use the for bivariate we might go for skewness likewise, and multivariate n number of tests are available like Mahalanobis test. Likewise we might go for test the normality. Trial survey used to test the reliability and validity of the research. And the sampling technique broadly divided into probability and non-probability sampling. Probability sampling, when the researcher is able to estimate the population parameter, each unit in the defined target population is known, then we might apply for the probability sample. When we go for non-probability sampling, each unit in the particular defined target population is unknown. We are not able to estimate the population parameter. There are the types of sampling coming under the probability sampling. Simple random sampling. For a simple random sampling is otherwise called as chance sampling. It is, we know, very well known about the particular population, then only we might go for this using lottery method or tipper table to draw the respondents. Say for example, in an organization 200 employees are working, we write all those names and put it into the bowl and take a required sample. Say for example 40 samples are required, we are going to take it from the particular part. Likewise, we might conduct a lottery method. And the stratified random sampling, cluster sampling, we call it as is a complex random sample. The stratified random sampling, stratification plus simple random sampling. What is stratification? It's like a market. We are going to divide the entire population into various subset. For example, we are going to divide the organization into the various department. Marketing department, human resources department. Likewise, we are dividing. Is a best example for the simple random, stratified random sample. And the cluster sampling or area sampling, where we know that the geographical area have been divided into various taluka, various district, various block. Likewise, it has been divided, and the particular block or particular group have been studied completely. What is the difference between the stratified and cluster sampling? Stratified sampling is known as representative sampling. It is going to get the representation from all the groups defined in the stratified random sample. But in the cluster sampling, we are going to study about the group of individuals. If we have, it is here mentioned, mentioned as 6 groups are there. In the 6 groups, we are going to take the 2 groups completely. We are going to study in this 2 groups. And other probability sampling like systematic sampling, we are going to study the nth element, every nth element in the population. There are hundreds population is there. We are going to select every 10 to reach the 10 sample size required for the study. Multi-stage sampling, for a kind of study we are not going to implement as a massive level. We might go for taking a smaller level in the particular sample, like the world into continents, into country, into number of states, into number of districts, taluks, individual household. Likewise, we are going to refining to get the sample size required for the study is a micro element of the population. Process sampling, sequential sampling is otherwise known as a process sampling, very well used in the manufacturing organization to test the quality control, statistical process control. The significant portion we call it as non-probability sampling, when the population parameter is not able to estimate. The first one is quota sampling. Quota sampling is also a stratification and judgmental sampling. What is the stratification or quota? Why it is called it as quota? The similar thing we are doing as like a stratification sampling, but we are defining what would be the exact sample size to be drawn from each strata. It's a quota sampling. And qualitative research, we might go for judgmental sampling, and the convenient sampling is useful for ease of access, and snowball sampling is a reference sampling. We don't know about the population. Then we might go for snowball sampling, getting reference to access the population.